they used to do gold parties many years ago, and I did it in 2007, for example. And my video that I have is so old that I'm trying to get the courage to show it to you, because it's really bad. I don't want to show it. It really is bad, but I might show you a little bit of it so that you can see that I actually did do it, right? So it was my husband that wanted to do it, and we were like, yeah, let's give it a go. So we was doing these gold parties where we were going around to people's houses. They would bring, say, 10 friends to the house, for their house, for example, and I would bring like a bottle of wine, and the guests would do some snacks, some nibbles, for example, and then they would bring broken jewelry, for example, old jewelry, broken jewelry, for example, that they can't use because maybe they've lost an earring, so they've got the other earring and it's no good, for example. Or maybe it's an earring back, or maybe it's a piece of chain that's broken off, maybe it's a clasp, maybe it's a like I said, possibly a bangle that is broken or bent, where it can't be, fixed nicely, for example. So they would bring their jewelry. Then I would then have my scales, and then I would weigh, at the price of what the gold or silver was on the day, for example. But I also would test it with acid test. I'd make sure that it was gold, for example, or it was silver, for example. Okay, I would look at the trademarks and things like that. So I had my book, I had my testing kit, I also have my scales, for example, and then I would have my bags, my gold bags that I would put the gold in, so it was separate. If it was 9, if it's UK, that is, if it was 10, 12, 14, for example, 18, 20 to 24, for example. And what used to happen is that they'd give me their gold, I would weigh it, and then I would say, okay, well, this is what the price is currently at the moment. I'd have a book, because back then, internet was just creeping in a big way, but it's not like you had a laptop that you could carry around with you, so you were kind of like, okay. And mobile phones aren't like how they were today, for example. So you'd have a book, and then you'd know what the cost of the scrap gold was at the time, for example. And then you would then give the person the money for what they gave you as the broken jewelry, and they would sign for it to say that they gave it to you. You'd have their name, etc. Just in case. I always like to, cover myself, for example. And then at the end of the night, you'd have like a bag of gold or bag of silver, or both, for example. Then what you would then do is you can speak with a refinery, have a good relationship with a refinery company, and they can melt it down into coins or into gold bars, for example. So I would do both, for example. Now imagine it didn't cost me like it would if I was to buy it from a bullion dealer, for example, because at the end of the day, I'm just interested that it's gold, and it's pure gold as much as it can be, the 9.999%, for example. And same with the silver, that it's silver. I wasn't saying, oh, it must have this special motif on. All I wanted was what you usually see, for example. So imagine that you're buying scrap gold, right? Doing these parties every single month, for example, because you need to, have friends or persons that you can do the gold party with, for example, and then they bring people to the guest house, for example. Another way I brought gold and silver was on eBay. I was buying things online, and I was doing bids, auctions, all of that. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it. We really did enjoy it. And we would have the gold arrive or the silver arrive, for example. And then we would then take it to London to get it melted down, for example, and put into gold bars, silver bars, for example. And that basically was the way to get the gold turned into bars or into coins. And you can do the same thing as well. And what I will do is I'll put a free guide here, just a small guide about how you can start a gold business, for example, without, spending loads of money, for example, buying things monthly. If you put like, $100 a month, or maybe 800 a month, it depends how much you've got access wise to spend, for example. So then you're building up your stock, for example, and it's a lot more safer than currently at the moment than doing stocks and shares. The value is going up, so it's going up and up and up and up, and now is the time to get gold and silver. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on gold and silver. Do you already collect coins? Do you already have gold bars or silver bars? Because silver is really becoming the stronger force as well. Because yes, gold is very valuable, don't get me wrong, retail value, but silver has got a dual purpose. So the need is higher. So surely that's going to make things go up like tenfold. It wouldn't surprise me. Gold at the moment, it is 2,900 for 1 ounce, for example. I believe it's going to be like 3,000, then 5,000, then 15,000, then $20,000. With silver, it's 35, then it'll probably go to 50, then it'll probably go to 100, then even up to $800 or more for an ounce. So this is a good investment to have, to either get the coins or turn them into gold bars or silver bars. Back in 2017, Fort Knox sparked a huge debate on US gold reserves. And something similar is happening today. So imagine the comparison of having the gold. People want the gold or the silver. They want to see it. They don't want it on paper. They don't want it, 50,000 miles away. They want it close to where they are, so that if they need to be able to get hold of money, for example, liquid cash, then they've got their gold bars or coins, for example, because that's how it used to be in the old days. They would have like a bag of coins, wouldn't they, for example, or they'll say, I'll give you this bag of coins for blah, 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 for example. And that is where we're going. So instead of, think about how you could build your gold reserve, build your own Fort Knox. Imagine that. Imagine the feeling of that. Imagine building your own gold and silver stock. You could have a home safe, secure, or you have it away from your home, because I would suggest that you do that, not where you live, for example. Unless you don't have that option, then that is entirely up to you. but you make sure that it's safe. Many years ago, people used to, put money in a mattress, didn't they? That's how it was years ago. But now things have changed. Money is devaluing, and by you having a stock of silver and gold, imagine that feeling that you're going to have. Imagine, we don't know what our pension is going to be when it comes to our pension time, do we? We don't know really how much we're going to get. We could miss out on some of it because of inflation, for example. I'm not saying that to scare anybody. I'm just being factual after what I've been witnessing over the last couple of months, for example. So imagine that you're buying your own gold and silver bars. You're taking your time, you're building up your scrap gold or scrap silver. You're building it up month by month, and then you buy a gold bar, or you buy a silver bar, or you buy both because you've been buying scrap gold, for example. And then imagine, this could be, 10 years later, when it's your retirement. You've got your retirement, but you've also got gold and silver, which is an asset that you can use to protect yourself. So you're not just living day to day, check to check. Why not give yourself that bit of extra security and cushion? Because although people have put things in stock, and I'm not a stock market kind of gal anyway, I don't know about it enough.